tonight's show, what this week, from those within the music industry and the drum world know, would be Namm. The big music show in LA would be today, which is also Martin Luther King Day. Very, very special day, obviously, in the world. So this week would have been the Namm show. And for the last 20 years, those that have followed me, I know a lot of you haven't followed me for 20 years, High Gretsch Drums would know that the industry all goes to LA, and the music show in LA is, the Namm show in LA is basically this, where all the companies show their new products for the year. I think the numbers are normally anything between 60 and 80,000 people attend the show. I think there's about 6,000 stands. So it's quite an amazing show. And if you want to go over to YouTube, you can see all my videos that I've done over the years. So I want to give you a little bit of a background, and I want to tell you what I'm planning to do this week. So I started that show, the Namm show, probably 20 years ago now. Don't worry if you're new here, there's lots of various things going on. There'll be various shows going on during the week. Lopsizzy. So anyway, I started the Namm, covering the Namm show about 20 years ago in LA, by putting up live videos of all the new products. And that's continued over the years, where now that trip for LA every year is quite a big trip for me, because those that know me know as I've got older, I just can't be asked to sit on an airplane for 12, 13 hours anymore going to places like LA. So I try to do the trip once a year, and I do a lot around that show. I always teach normally for a couple of days at MI, Musicians Institute on Sunset Boulevard, and various other things happen. So obviously the music show has stopped, is not happening this year. So I wanted to try and do something different with what we're doing here. But I also want to let you know what's going on. So the Namm organisation have set up an online event called Believe in Music. You can go onto the Namm Instagram and you can find a link to the Believe in Music. It's free, it's online, and there's various events going on every day during the week. So the music show would normally start on Thursday, and it would run Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So I wanted to try and work out, well, what can we do here remotely while that's going on. So I've got lined up this week, some companies are coming on and they're going to show their new products. And they're going to show, not only are they going to show their new products, we're going to get a little bit of background why those products are going to happen. So one of the companies, Sabian, will be doing it from their famous vault. So we get new symbols, we'll find out about the background towards it, etc, etc. So this week, the timings of the shows are all over the place. So you just got to keep an eye on my Instagram. Where normally I do a show on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock and we have a guest. This week I'm going to have guests, but they're from companies. And they're going to come on, talk about new products, etc, etc. So I also wanted to use this show tonight differently to talk about new products that have been released, just come out this week, and also to discuss a couple of questions that people have asked me about. So stoked to sit there. The symbols are going to be really exciting. Like I said, Mark Love is going to come on there. So normally I would do these videos live at the Namm show, but like I said, this year we're going to do them remotely, and we're going to use this platform to do it. So just keep an eye on my social media for timing. And like I said, these are going to start from Wednesday onwards. Anyway, so we've got some products. I'm going to run past a few products that are coming out. So like I said, this show is completely different. If you've got any questions that you would like to ask, anything you want to ask, then put them in that question mark box. But if it's product related, again, put them in that question mark box. So I want to start with somebody that sent me a question about Rogers drums. Okay, for those that don't know, Rogers drums first came out in 1849. I need my notebook today. But Rogers drums first came out in 1849. One of the first drum kit companies around, and a very, very important part in the history of music over the years. So someone was asking me what was happening with Rogers drums. Well, to get you up to date, they made a return in 2016. and they came back and they have brought some new products out there. A lot of people will be aware about their Dynasonic snare drums and some of their old drums. A lot of the vintage drummers still use, and they're on lots of records, the vintage stuff. So they came back and they brought out, they're still built in the US. They've got a new hardware range, the Dynomatic, so a new hardware range and a new bass drum pedal. So yes, the answer to your question, ask me, they are back. They've got an really cool tom-tom holder, actually. I'm not too sure if they're making that tom-tom holder. I'm not going to put that on record just in case they're not, but it's a very cool tom-tom holder, because there's a lot of people know with the older vintage drum kits, sometimes the hardware, the legs, tom-tom holders, etc., really didn't adapt to modern day. So they brought out a few snare drums. Dynasonic, they brought out, so they got some B7 brass snare drums. They also brought out last year, this came out, the Covington kit, which is a Pearl Covington kit. Really looks cool. So go over to rogers.com to find out more information. But yes is the answer to your question. They are still around. They've been around since 2016. If you're based in the UK, there's a few drum shops in the UK that are stocking those kits. And obviously, wherever you are, you can go and check those out. The other question that came to me was, what's happening with Slingerland drums? Okay, well, I did a little bit of research. I spoke to the people that know a little bit more information about that. And one of the announcements that we made 2020 at the Namm show was that Drum Workshop had bought Slingerland. In fact, what actually happened there was the CEO of DW, Chris Lombardo, bought the company for his dad. I think his statement was that what do you buy someone that's got everything? And he thought, well, I'll buy him another drum company. So anyway, they are owned by DW. They bought them late 2019 from Gibson. I understand that there is things in the works. Obviously 2020 didn't go as we all planned. And so that includes the drum companies with having to maybe close factories for a while, or etc., or launch. So from what my understanding is, there is more to come. There is stuff being looked at and working on. But I have also, just to make sure that you're aware of this, I've read up on a few forums just to do a little bit of backtrack on this, and a few people were talking about a new Slingerland snare drum that came out this year. That's not true. So in 2020 there was not, I repeat, not a new Slingerland snare drum. But keep an eye out, because there's going to be some information, and obviously just keep an eye on my website, MikeDelbo.com, and we'll put this kind of information out. Right, so let me just double check. I've got a couple of questions here and see if there's anything relevant to COVID precaution. Oh, okay, right, I'll come back to those questions. So one person's asked about Ben Thatcher from Royal Blood. Okay, well, we both support the same football team and from the same place, so hopefully Ben will be coming up as a guest. And while we're on that subject, well done, you've linked me to it. Gretsch. So Gretsch have released a few bits and pieces. Some has broken to some of the news has already broke, but they brought out a new Renown kit. In fact, they've got a few kits now. If you want to go over to the Gretsch website and check that out, Gretsch.com. But they also launched two new snare drums: the Keith Carlock signature snare drum and the Gergo Boreline signature snare drum. Gergo obviously was a guest on Wednesday night as well. I'm going to discuss those in more detail later on in the year, so keep a lookout for those. DW also launched the Dave Grohl snare drum. Very cool. As some of you may not know, they've done a series of signature snare drums, and I think if you go through my Drum Clips YouTube page, Drum Clips, you'll see a picture of actually John Good, who designed those drums, actually making the I want to say it might have been the Neil Peart one, but it could have been the Nick Mason one. But anyway, so Dave Grohl's now got one of those snare drums out. LP have launched the Tommy Lee cowbell. Tommy Lee obviously from Motley Crue, so that's going to be a nice loud cowbell. And PDP have launched a load of new stuff. Yeah, the Gergo snare drum looks very interesting. Somebody just come up here, Jules Drums, nice, look forward to seeing Gergo snare drums. Both those snare drums, Keith's and Gergo, look really cool. The PDP have launched quite a lot of stuff. A lot of it is limited edition, so check in with your drum stores. But some really nice looking drums. It's just too many for me to go on, and a whole range of snare drums. Plus, they've relaunched their hardware range with lots and lots of changes. Again, go over to PDP or go to the DW website and you can find all that information about PDP. Definitely need more of that cowbell. Yeah, you're probably very correct. Anything that gets through Motley Crue is going to be a loud cowbell there. Okay, Ludwig again have released a limited edition kit for 2021. It's a mahogany black cat kit, which is maple. It's a 3-ply. Okay, again, those that know about the drums know that 3-ply is an old vintage kit that a lot of people are getting back into. But the issue with the old 3-ply kits are obviously it's 3-ply. It's not that strong, so they're putting reinforcement hoops. So go over to Ludwig to check that out. They've also brought out a couple of acrylic snare drums as well. No, sorry, the Acrylite, I apologise. The Acrylite series snare drums, limited edition. Moving on to Paisley cymbals. They've added to their signature cymbal range. They've got a new 19 and 20 Power Crash, 2022 Power Ride, 14 and 15 Power Hats. And there's quite a few other little cymbals that they've added to that. We discussed last week about the Meinl cymbals. So again, if you go over to Meinl.com, you can see that they've got a complete cymbal range as well. So I'm just going to double check thoughts on the new Meinl range dropped this week. Yeah, well, we were hoping to have Meinl up this week to do one of the shows. Unfortunately, they've had to cancel. They're very, very busy doing some videos, etc., etc. I mean, Meinl are doing some great stuff, and obviously they've also got their sticks. So Pete Barber has just asked thoughts on the new Meinl range dropped this week. So yeah, they've also got their Meinl sticks. Luke Holland and Calvin Rogers have got their first signature sticks with Meinl. And there's so much percussion range there, really cool looking stuff. Unfortunately, like I said, they were due to do a show with me this week. They've had to cancel because they've got a lot of other stuff going on at the moment, filming. I'm hoping to have a few artists maybe come up and talk about particular signature products that they've got launched over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it looks really interesting. Right, let's check. From Royal, anything new from Pearl? Right, that's a good question, Christopher. I'm not too sure at the moment. I did notify them. Haven't heard yet from Pearl. The problem with a lot of drum companies was that this year, if they were building towards Namm, then obviously this would have been the week to release all their new products. But the biggest problem that a lot of companies have got is a lot of the products that got launched in 2020, in the same time last year, didn't really get a chance to get those products out there because obviously a lot of the world was already going into lockdown back in January. But certainly Europe ended up going into lockdown in March. So, for example, the Brian Fraser more snare drum, a lot of those products didn't actually make it yet to the shops, purely because shops closed, etc., etc., etc. So, and then the second reason for that is that most of these companies are thinking about Namm a good sometimes 8 or 9 months before. Maybe longer. So again, a lot of companies have lost that. I think you'll find that there'll be more products being launched during the year. Mapex have also releasing a couple of new drum kits as well. What else we got here? Okay, would we have to take COVID precaution? Well, if you need to take COVID precaution, that's fine. Yeah, like I said, someone's come up here, Ben Thatcher from Royal Blood. Yeah, well, Ben Thatcher is somebody that I could get up here. To be honest with the guests, there's a lot of people lined up. My guests are already lined up for the next up to the end of the month. So those that are new or just watching this, this week it was something different. I wanted to try and do this week regarding the Namm and the products, etc., etc. And so the whole timetable has been turned upside down for this week. But next week we get back into live chats. Tuesday and Wednesdays, for those that are new to this, I do them every Tuesday, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. My guests are lined up next week. I also decided it was good to do the Namm show this week and not necessarily have some of my guests on this week, because if I had American guests, I think that they've got other things to think about this week. So I thought I'd leave it till next week anyway. So that's all the current news that we've got on new products. Like I said, we're going to start on Thursday night with Sabian. Sabian are going to be talking about some of the new cymbals, some that they've had out. We're also going to get a chance to have a look at the background to some of their cymbals, and I have to give it the right, yeah, and we're also going to Area 51. That sounds cool, doesn't it? So Sabian are going to show us some of the stuff from Area 51, which is basically the prototypes and what they're looking at, how they make stuff. So that's going to be on Thursday night if you're watching from the UK. I think we're going live at 7 o'clock UK time, which is 11 LA time, 8 European time, and work out the rest from there. But that will be Mark Love, who's the head cymbal maker. And like I said, these are shows that I would normally have been doing at the music show that we're going to try and do via live Instagram. So, is there any other questions? Anyone want to know any more? I think we've tackled all these ones here. There's a few that I will not repeat. But any other questions about any of the products? If you did send me one in the comments, just please send it back. I'm just having a quick scroll down. But if not, that's it for today. Like I said, I'm going to also do a giveaway this week, but I'm going to wait till the end of the week, and we're going to do a giveaway featuring one of the companies that be showing their new products this week. I'm going to make a nice prize and do a giveaway, and I'm going to open up that competition is going to be open up to the world. Okay, so normally I can only send it to the UK. This one's to the world. So if that's a very good question, Jules. Jules has asked if I ever tried to get Vinny on the show. I have reached out to Vinny. I've been fortunate enough to meet Vinny a few times. There's a lot of people that I've reached out to, and one way and another things just haven't worked out. And also now the ball is rolling again, and we're all back in a lockdown again. I will reach out again. I don't try and work too far ahead, because sometimes other commitments come along for both of us. But I can promise you this, there's a list as long as my arm of people that I have got planned to come up on the show. I used to really do it with people that I knew very well. I'm opening that up now as well. But there's lots of great guests, and obviously Vinny would be one of those people as well. But we'll be all right. There's some good guests coming up, and like I said, and also I think it's important for people to get to meet and hear new people talk. So I'm trying to get, as you have been aware of the 100 shows that I've done already, I try to get people that you don't know much about. I try to also get people who are very influential and very important, that are in part of our industry, because it's important that you understand and see those people, which is something that I'm trying to do this week with the Instagram lives from the companies, because there'll be new people that work at companies that are very, very important to products that you know and get to love, but don't know anything about the background to it. Which is also important because it gives everyone an opening and an understanding of a path that maybe they could end up going. If you're a young drummer on here and want to be a professional drummer, and things may not work out, you know, doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you haven't got great ability. You may just, your path may just shift to different areas. And a lot of these people that are involved in drum companies, very influential in drum companies, are people like that have either had a career in the music industry and adjusted to doing this, want more of a 9 to 5, or it hasn't worked out for them. And so it's important that you know, we all get to know those. So, like I said, that's something that we will cover this week. Right, so here's a question here. So, Drumming Studio 12, any news from Zildjian? Yes, I have news from Zildjian. And that's going to be on Friday night. Friday's show. I can't remember the time. And like I said, you're going to have to keep an eye on the Instagram. But that's going to be, I think it's Friday afternoon. I've got Zildjian coming up. As well as Vic Firth is coming up as well, talking about products. So that's Friday. Okay, it's that same question again. So yeah, Zildjian will be on Friday. And like I said, the music show would have been running from Wednesday onwards. So just to recap as well, if you go up onto my socials, I'm trying to run some videos and some pictures, etc., from the last 20 years of the Namm show, but also a guy that's done a lot of work with me, Francesco. He's also I'll come to that one as well. Jamie, can you just put that in the question mark box for me? If you could just pop that in the question mark box, and I'll come to that in a second. So if you could just, if you want to follow any of the videos that he's been putting up, he's been putting some really cool videos up over the last 10 years of him doing the show. So Francesco, you'll see his link. I think it was the last video that I put up was his. Go and see what he's up to. Amazing photographer. Many of the pictures that I've got on this wall, Francesco has taken, and he normally follows me around these music shows, and yeah, so Francesco is worth keeping an eye on there. Okay, so this question from Jamie, let me scroll down, has cut, oh, so hang on, just a random, right, how did you meet the Arctic Monkeys? Well, obviously I met the Arctic Monkeys via Matt Helders. Matt I met because, yeah, here we go, let's pop that up there. Okay, so I met Matt because one of my students, they won the Mystery Jets. Kapil was the drummer for the Mystery Jets. He was one of my students, and they actually were the headlining band on I think it might have been the NME tour, and the Arctic Monkeys were the support band. So Kapil told Matt about me. Matt was very excited, and so they gave me a call while they were on the road, and we were planning to have some lessons. And so that's how, and this was the first album. Then I had a lot to do with Matt on the second album, because there was particular tracks that he wanted to talk to me about. And so that's how I met Matt Helders. Arctic Monkeys, obviously, just through Matt. And I did say this the other day, and I love that there's so many fans of these bands, and it's very important that you are fans of these bands. But it's all jobs. They're just doing a job, okay? And they're fortunate because they're doing a job that they love, and they sometimes come over different to what people really are. And I know I said this in the chat, but I've been many a gig. I'm trying to remember who I took with me, but I took someone with me, and it might have been Simon Hansen, but I can't remember. Oh no, in fact it was Steve Forrest. Steve Forrest was with me from Placebo. I took him to an Arctic Monkeys gig so he can vouch for this, and afterwards we went backstage at the O2, and there was Alex and the lads all opening up beers for everybody, greeting everybody, so yeah, that's how I got to meet the Arctic Monkeys, and Alex and the lads. I've met them a few times, and I've obviously known Matt for quite a while, keep in contact with Matt a lot, been up to the house a lot, etc, etc. But like I said, I mean, I was very honoured that Matt came up here and did the chat the other day. Kaz Rodriguez is in the house, So, oh goodness gracious. Aid sent me a question. It's in small print. Hang on. Would you rather be running on the Santa Monica? Oh, this is a good question, Aid. Right. So, Aid Holbrook, as it's Namm time of the year, that's exactly what we've been talking about, Aid. Would you rather be running on Santa Monica Beach or on my local beach? That's a very good question, Aid. I have to say that it's been part of my thing that's going on here. Like I said, for 20 years I've done the LA in January, which the weather has always been really, really nice. And anyone that knows me knows that I go to Santa Monica. I've got a secret place I go, and I stay there for a day or two, and I run along that beach in the sunshine, and it's lovely. It's interesting that a few of my buddies, one particular, the great Dave Palmer, great drummer who plays for Rod Stewart, normally the first day I'm in LA I have breakfast with him, and I said to him, I'm really missing not being out there this year. And actually Dave said to me, forget COVID, he said, you wouldn't want to be here this year. You know, there's a tension in the air. So maybe this year is probably a good place for me to have stayed here. Will you certainly contribute to the greatest? I don't know about that. I certainly didn't. Jamie said you certainly contributed to the greatest debut album of all time, which is obviously the Arctic Monkeys. That was down to those lads. This is the thing about Matt as well. Matt has got such a great, pure sound that and unique sound, and that's what makes Matt and the Arctic Monkeys. I will tell you another quick story about the Arctic Monkeys in a minute, but let me see what do you think about? Okay, what do you think of Max Weinberg's drumming? Great, love Max, and his son, by the way, who's now playing for Slipknot. Yeah, I love Max's playing. The simplicity, it's all about playing for the band, etc., etc. For those that, if you just indulge me for a second, for those that are new to this, I will tell you a quick story about the Arctic Monkeys as well. For those that are new to this, unfortunately for those that know me and know me well, know that I was involved in the London Olympics and put all the drummers together for the London Olympics, and it was all top secret, as you can imagine. Everything was very, very quiet and very secret because the press, the scummy press, were trying to get any news that they could. So for 9 months I worked on that, and no one really knew what other people were doing. So my section, or the drummers section, was 1,000 drummers, were the Industrial Revolution, the opening, and then we did the closing part of the Olympics and the Athletes Parade. And one day Danny Boyle we were doing a rehearsal, and Danny Boyle came in, and he was the producer of the show, an incredible talent, obviously. And Danny said to me, I've just got back from Joshua Tree, and I knew that Matt, obviously the Arctic Monkeys were in Joshua Tree out in the desert near Vegas, recording the album. And I was like, what was you doing out in that Joshua Tree? And he said, talking to hopefully one of the acts that's going to be playing at the Olympics. And I said, the Arctic Monkeys are doing the Olympics opening ceremony. And he went, how do you know? I said, well, I know Matt, and I know they're there. So I know they're there. And he went, well, it's secret, it's top secret, no one knows. So I said, that's fine. Anyway, I spoke to Matt about 3 or 4 days later, and I said, are you doing a gig that you're not allowed to tell me about? And he went, what do you mean? I said, because I'm doing a gig that I'm not allowed to tell anyone about, and I think you're doing the same gig that you're not allowed to tell anyone about. So it was a very bizarre conversation, and of course we both worked out that we were both on the same job. And of course the Arctic Monkeys. So I lost connection for a second. And of course the Arctic Monkeys were amazing at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. They played a Beatles song, which was even better, and it was brilliant just to be involved with them. Okay, so I think I've got another question, and then I'm going to disappear. Although the button's not working today. What's happened here? Okay. Oh, question mark. Sorry. I've got another one here. Oh, it keeps flashing up that I've got another one, but I think I've answered it. Max Weinberg, yes. Okay, so that's it. like I said, it's going to be a different kind of week this week because it's going to be some Namm live chats. They're going to be really interesting. We're going to talk about a bit of products. So even if you're not really interested in the company, it'd be interesting to find out about why companies do those kind of products. I'm starting them on Thursday night. Do keep an eye on my socials because, like I said, the times are going to be a little bit different. And I'll see you then. And then next week we get back to the live chats. So that just leaves me to say, look after yourselves. Stay as fit and healthy as you possibly can. Try not to let this get you down. Check in on people. I know I say it all the time. Check in on people. Make sure you're okay. We're all going through, a strange and tough time. And it's okay to be not okay. But look after yourselves. This is up on Drum Clips, my YouTube page. Share this. By the way, I must just say that I'm very, very close to 10,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm not bothered about followers, but what the followers, if I get to 10,000, it opens up another platform for me to use on Instagram, which is linking it. And that would be quite nice. And I think I'm about 20 people off 10,000. So that would be quite cool if we can get to that number. So anyway, that's it. Look after yourselves. You know who I am. If you need to DM me, spread the word. And I will see everybody on Thursday night. I think it's the first live chat, first Namm product launch. So I'll see you on Thursday night. This stays up there. Stay safe. Stay well. Be nice. Good night.